मैं हूं आपका दोस्त और होस्ट सीए मयूर राजपूत और मैं आपका स्वागत करता हूं मेरे आज के इस नए वीडियो में। आज हम एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक पर बात करने वाले हैं विच इज रिगार्डिंग एज टू हाउ द कॉन्सेप्ट्स विच वी स्टडी इन आवर सीए कोर्स हाउ दे आर बीइंग अप्लाइड प्रैक्टिकली इन द इंडस्ट्री एंड इन द बिग कंपनीज। दोस्तों, जब भी हम अपनी पढ़ाई की प्रिपरेशन करते हैं तो हम पढ़ते जाते हैं मगर हम कभी भी किसी अच्छी कंपनी की बैलेंस शीट्स और ऑडिट रिपोर्ट्स को पढ़ने की कोशिश नहीं करते, विच इज अ वेरी बिग मिस्टेक ऑन आवर पार्ट। आप पढ़ाई करेंगे, मेहनत करेंगे, आप एग्जाम निकाल लेंगे, मगर जब तक आप चीजों को प्रैक्टिकली नहीं समझेंगे, आपको उनकी प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेबिलिटी नहीं पता होगी, तब तक आप एक अच्छे प्रोफेशनल नहीं बन सकते। सो टुडे आई विल टेक यू थ्रू द बैलेंस शीट ऑफ रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज लिमिटेड regarding the accounting treatment and disclosures with respect to property, plant and equipment, provisions and contingent liabilities. This video is very relevant for all our CA students and it is relevant for our CA members as well. So I request you all to watch this video till the end so that you get a full knowledge as to how the concepts are being practically applied in the industry and in the big companies.
First of all, let us have a quick recap of all the concepts which we studied in Ind AS 16. So regarding the recognition criteria, cost of an item of PP is recognized if both these conditions are fulfilled. First, it is probable that future economic benefits will flow to the enterprise, and second, the cost can be measured reliably. Now let us talk about the measurement of PPE. So at the time of recognition, we measure the PPE at cost model, and after recognition we can measure it at cost model or revaluation model. Now regarding the elements of cost, it has three elements: purchase cost, directly attributable and necessary cost, and cost of dismantling and restoration. So purchase cost is purchase price including import duties, non-refundable purchase taxes, but after deduction of trade discounts and rebates. Directly attributable cost, I have discussed this in detail in my previous video, so you can go through that to get a knowledge about this concept. Now let us discuss about the subsequent cost. So regarding the subsequent cost, the criteria is the cost is recognized in the carrying amount of PPE if the recognition criteria are met. Now let us talk a bit about the cost model and the revaluation model. So under cost model, PPE are to be carried at cost less accumulated depreciation and any accumulated impairment loss. While in revaluation model, PPE whose fair value can be measured reliably should be carried at a revalued amount less any subsequent accumulated depreciation and subsequent accumulated impairment losses. Now let us discuss some important points regarding depreciation. So first of all, we studied about the componentization and component depreciation, which is each part of item of PPE with a cost that is significant in relation to the total cost should be capitalized and depreciated separately. The depreciable amount should be allocated on a systematic basis. Depreciation charge for each period should be recognized in the statement of profit and loss unless it is included in the carrying amount of another asset. So depreciation should be capitalized if some asset is being used for the construction or for the construction of any other eligible asset. Residual value and useful life to be reviewed at each balance sheet date, and any change is accounted for as change in accounting estimate as per AS5. And regarding the depreciation method, so depreciation method can be SLM, WDB and units of production method. Now let us talk about the derecognition of PPE. So derecognition of PPE is done on disposal where no future economic benefits are expected from its use. Gain or loss should be recognized in statement of profit and loss. And what is the gain or loss? So it is the difference between the net disposal proceeds and the carrying amount of derecognized item of PPE. Now, let us have a look at the significant accounting policies related to PPE and let's see whether they match with what we have studied. So, property, plant and equipment are stated at cost, net of recoverable taxes, trade discount and rebate, less accumulated depreciation and impairment loss if any. So, we can see that the Reliance Industries Limited follows the cost model for measurement of PPE. So, what does this cost include? Such cost includes purchase price, borrowing cost, and any cost directly attributable to bringing the asset to its working condition for its intended use. Net of charges on foreign exchange contracts and adjustments arising from foreign exchange rate variations attributable to the assets, which we studied in the elements of cost. Let us read further. In case of land, the company has availed fair value as deemed cost on the date of transition to Ind AS. So this is a point which will deal, which was relevant when the Ind AS came and the convergence was being done. So they have given this point regarding to that issue. Now let us read further. Subsequent costs are included in the assets carrying amount or recognized as a separate asset as appropriate only when it is probable that the future economic benefits associated with them will flow to the entity and the cost can be measured reliably. So we have already studied that subsequent costs are included if the recognition criteria are met, and similarly the two conditions of the recognition criteria, they have mentioned it here. Property, plant and equipment which are significant to the total cost of the item of PP and having different useful life are accounted separately. So here they are talking about the componentization. Let us read further. Other indirect expenses incurred relating to project, net of income earned during the project development stage prior to its intended use are considered as pre-operative expenses and disclosed under the capital work in progress. Depreciation on property, plant and equipment is provided using the written down value method. So we have studied three methods: the SLM method, written down value method and the units of production method. So here they are using the written down value method. So let us read further. Depreciation is provided using written down value method on depreciable amount except in case of certain assets from refining segment and petrochemical segment, and SEZ units which are depreciated using straight line method. So as we studied, the amount should be depreciated over systematic basis which is appropriate to each particular asset. So for some asset they are using WDV method and for some assets they are using straight line method. Depreciation is provided based on useful life of the assets as prescribed in Schedule 2 of the Companies Act 2013. So the useful life which they are using is as per the Schedule 2 of the Companies Act, except in respect of following assets where useful life is different than those prescribed in Schedule 2. So there are some assets for which they have adopted some different useful life which may be on the basis of some technical evaluation. So let us see what are these assets. Fixed bed catalyst, useful life 2 years or more. So it will be depreciated over its useful life, and see they have written here it is technically assessed. Fixed bed catalyst, useful life up to 2 years, 100% depreciated in the year of addition. So as per their technical evaluation there might be some policy, because of this they would be depreciating it 100% for fixed bed catalyst which are useful life up to 2 years. Premium on leasehold land range up to 99 years. So it will be depreciated over the period of lease term. And regarding the plant and machinery which has useful life from 25 to 40 years, so they will depreciate over its useful life as technically assessed. So the residual values, useful lives and methods of depreciation of PP are reviewed each financial year end and adjusted prospectively if appropriate. So we have studied the same, that it is a change in accounting estimate and it will be dealt prospectively as per AS5. Gains or losses arising from derecognition of a PPE are measured as the difference between net disposal proceeds and the carrying amount of the asset, and are recognized in the statement of profit and loss when the asset is recognized. So this concept we have also studied when we studied regarding the concepts of Ind AS 16. Now, as we can see in the balance sheet, the value of property, plant and equipment is derived from note 1. So I will show you this annexure and let you know as to how the value of property, plant and equipment is derived. So this is the annexure of property, plant and equipment of Reliance Industries Limited. One concept which we studied in Ind AS 16 was regarding the class of PPE. Class of PPE was assets having similar nature and similar use. So here we can see there are various class of PPE like leasehold land, freehold land, buildings, plant machinery, electrical installations, equipments, furniture fixtures, vehicles, ships, aircrafts and helicopters. So this is a practical example by which you can understand the class of PPE concept. So here they have given the opening value, the additions, the deductions, and after taking all those impact, this is the gross block. And regarding the depreciation, so they are following the accumulated depreciation concept. So this is the accumulated depreciation till 1/4/2018, and this is the depreciation for the year 2019. And after deducting the depreciation from the gross block, we arrive at the net block, which is the value which has been displayed in the balance sheet. Now there is one important thing to note here, that here there is a hash mark. If you can see the cursor where I have placed, there is a hash mark. So let us understand what is this hash. Depreciation or amortization and depletion expense for the year includes depreciation of 130 crore capitalized during the year. Thus, the net amount of 10,558 crores has been considered in statement of profit and loss. As we studied the concept, as this assets might have been used in the construction of some other asset, so this 130 crores has been capitalized in that asset, and this 10,558 crore has been shown in the profit and loss account. So if we total both these figure, we get the total figure of depreciation, which is 10,688 crores. I will show you this depreciation amount in the statement of profit and loss as well. So here you can see the depreciation amortization expense, which comes as per note 1, is 10,558 crores. Now, as we all know, there are some estimations which are involved while we make the accounts, which are regarding to the useful life, the residual values. So let us see some critical accounting judgments which the management makes, and let us also understand as to what factors are there on which these estimations depend. Property, plant and equipment, public intangible assets, are depreciated over their estimated useful life after taking into account estimated residual value. So this concept we already know. Management reviews the estimated useful life and residual values of the assets annually in order to determine the amount of depreciation to be recorded during any reporting period. The useful life and the residual values are based on the company's historical experience with similar assets and take into account anticipated technological changes. So at each year end, the management reviews the residual value, the useful life of the asset. They make various technical evaluation. They take the opinions of the technical expert regarding the useful life. They assess as to how if we are going to sell the asset, what is the realizable value we will get in the market. So based on that, they change their estimate regarding the residual value, and based on the technical evaluation or the technological changes which are coming. For example, if the Reliance is using one machinery and another industry is using some upgraded machinery, So this might lead to accelerated depreciation to be charged in the balance sheet and in the profit and loss account of the Reliance Industries Limited. So the management reviews all these conditions, and if there are changes, so the effect of all these conditions are given prospectively. Let us read further. The depreciation for future periods is revised if there are significant changes from previous estimates. Now let us see a small point. Though we have not studied this standard regarding the related party disclosures, but we will study it in future. So I'll show you the related party disclosure related to PPE as well. So they have purchased some property, plant and equipment from some subsidiaries or some associates or joint ventures. So they have disclosed the same here by a separate note in the financial statements. One more important concept which we studied in Ind AS 16 is regarding the provision for decommissioning of PP. So under the provision for non-current assets, they have made the provision for decommissioning of assets. So previous year it was 2205 and this year it is 2483. So they have made an additional provision this year as well. Let us see an important note which has been given here. The movement in the provision is towards the utilization for Tapti facilities, change in exchange rates, and unwinding of discount. Provision for decommissioning of assets is for Panna Mukta, Tapti, KGD6, and CBM blocks. So this provision relates to some of these blocks of assets of the Reliance Industries Limited. There exists uncertainty on the timing of abandonment of well and related facilities, which would depend upon the ultimate life of the field and expected utilization of the assets by other fields. So let us see as to where it has been disclosed in the balance sheet. So it has been disclosed under the non-current liabilities as a separate line item. You can see here provisions and the amount is 2483. Now let us talk about the provisions, contingent liabilities and the contingent assets. So let us have a quick recap of the provisions of this accounting standard. Though we have not studied the Ind AS relating to this AS, but more or less the concepts are similar. So I'll make you quickly go through the concepts so that you can understand the disclosures in the balance sheet. So provision is a liability which can be measured only by using a substantial degree of estimation. Contingent liability is a possible obligation arising from past events and the existence of which will be confirmed only by the occurrence or non-occurrence of one or more uncertain future events not wholly within the control of the enterprise. And there is a second condition as well. Let us see what is it through this flowchart. Do you have a present obligation from past events? If the answer is yes, you have to check whether there will be an outflow of resources embodying economic benefits. If the answer is no, disclose it as a contingent liability. But if the answer is yes, you have to check whether there is a reliable estimate of the amount of obligation. If the answer is no, then you have to disclose it as a contingent liability. But if the answer is yes, then all the three conditions of recognition of provision are fulfilled and you have to recognize it as a provision. Now let us see the accounting policies which are given here with respect to the provisions. Provisions are recognized when the company has a present obligation as a result of past event and it is probable that an outflow of resources embodying economic benefits will be required to settle the obligation and a reliable estimate can be made of the amount of obligation. So this exactly matches with the definition of provision which we studied just a few seconds ago. Let us study further. If the effect of time value of money is material, provisions are discounted using a correct pre-tax rate that reflects when appropriate the risk is specific to the liability. So this is talking about the discounting of provision which is normally done in the case of decommissioning of PPE. So let us see the point regarding the provision for decommissioning liability. The company records a provision for decommissioning costs towards site restoration activity. Decommissioning costs are provided at present value of future expenditure using a current pre-tax rate expected to be incurred to fulfill decommissioning obligations and are recognized as a part of the cost of underlying assets. So this concept we have seen in the elements of cost. We saw there regarding the dismantling cost and the decommissioning cost that is included in the cost of PPE. So they have mentioned the same here. And any change in the present value of expenditure other than unwinding of discount is reflected as adjustment to the provision of the corresponding asset. The change in provision due to unwinding of discount is recognized in the statement of profit and loss, which we have already studied. Now let us see the disclosure regarding the contingent liabilities. So this will help you to understand the contingent liabilities quite well. There are a lot of examples which we can take up from here regarding the contingent liabilities. So let us see them one by one. Claims against the company, disputed liabilities not acknowledged as debts. So in respect of joint ventures and in respect of others, there are some claims, some disputed liabilities. So they have disclosed it here. This is for the previous year and this is for the current year. As you can see, here we have a star. So let us see what this star is. The company has been advised that the demand is likely to be either deleted or substantially reduced, and accordingly no provision is considered. So as per the definition of contingent liability, this note is quite relevant and is appropriate. Let us see some more examples of the contingent liabilities. They have given guarantees to banks and financial institutions against credit facilities extended to third parties and to some other parties as well. They have given performance guarantees. They have given outstanding guarantees furnished to bank and financial institution in respect of letter of credits for joint ventures and for some other parties. So if these parties make a default in the payment terms, so the Reliance Industries Limited might be required to pay on behalf of these parties. So they have disclosed it as a contingent liability. Let us see a few more examples through this balance sheet. The income tax assessment of the company have been completed up to assessment year 16-17. Total outstanding demand up to 16-17 is 28.08 crores. Based on the directions of the appellate authorities and interpretations of other relevant provisions of the Income Tax Act, the company has been legally advised that additional demand raised is likely to be either deleted or substantially reduced, and accordingly no provision is required. So again, this meets the definition of our contingent liability, as there is a least probability that there will be an outflow embodying economic resources. So they have rightly disclosed it as a contingent liability. And SEBI has imposed some penalty regarding disgorgement of 447 crores along with interest, and has laid some operating restrictions as well. So in respect of this, the company has filed an appeal against the said order, and the SAT has stayed the direction on disgorgement till next date of hearing and the prohibition from dealing in equity derivatives and the future and options segment, which is expiring on 23rd March 2018. So again, there is a least probability of outflow of economic resources, and they have rightly disclosed it as a contingent liability.
So guys, that was all about today's discussion. I hope you all liked today's video. अगर आपको आज का ये वीडियो अच्छा लगा तो गिव इट अ थम्स अप और कमेंट बॉक्स में मुझे कमेंट करके बताएं आपको आज का ये वीडियो कैसा लगा. Also, don't forget to watch my previous videos on Accounting Standard 29 and Ind AS 16, and also I have made some videos on the latest trending economic issues, so do watch that also, and follow me on all my social links to stay updated regarding my video content. And at last, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this video.